The Video Game Awards are a bit of a farce, but you guys know that, right? I think it's kind of an open secret by now. I think at least a lot of people have already talked about it. But when you go to the website for the Video Games Awards, you can basically vote for which game should win which award. And I hate to tell you, it absolutely does not matter what you do there. And why does it not matter? Well, because your voice basically does not have any effect on the result. If you look at the FAQ at their website, you can see that the whole process starts with a jury that selects a number of video games which become the nominees for this year. This jury is made out of people from media and influencer outlets, which means you basically have games media, games journalists who decide which games are important for it, which is kind of okay. I don't really have anything against that, to be honest, because there is a huge number of games released each year, and you need some kind of process to narrow that down to a few important ones. And I don't have any problem if you select a jury of people to do that. It's efficient. It makes sense for like a show like this. But then there is also this part where here exactly. How are winners selected? Winners are determined by a blended vote between the voting jury, 90%, and public fan voting, 10%. This is just, it's just doesn't make any sense to me. I can also get their sentiment that you cannot really get like 100% of the votes for the fans, like they say here. That is just a surefire way for the whole show to turn into a meme. But then again, like splitting it to 90 and 10, there is no way that public fan voting has any effect on what's coming out. It kind of feels like they just want a reason for people who are not in this elite class that is allowed to vote to be able to do something. You should feel like you have an impact without actually having an impact. I just don't like that very much. I would have way less of a problem if they just said, hey, we'll get a jury, kind of like they did it with the Oscars. I personally do not like the Oscars as well, because I think award shows like this are generally just the industry celebrating themselves, and I personally don't really need that. I don't know. It would seem a little bit more honest to me. That being said, the industry celebrating themselves is not necessarily a bad thing, even if I am personally not that invested in it. It is nice for people who are working in the same area to come together and have a place where they can, I don't know, like cooperate and just celebrate themselves. Like that's fine with me. Just don't make an elephant out of an ant. There's absolutely no reason to fight over anything that's going to happen here, because in the end, it really doesn't matter. That being said, I do like to yap about games, so I am going to look at who is nominated currently, and I will give my opinion on this. Just think about the fact that this is just my opinion, and that my opinion, just like most of you guys' opinion, do not matter at all when it comes to who is going to win. And this is just for fun and discussion. So let's go to the nominees. Best Esports Team: Gen.G, NRG, Team Falcons, Liquid, Vitality. I'm gonna be real with you. I am the most non-competitive person on the planet. I have not really played any of those games except for Dota, so I'm just gonna vote for the Dota team. Next category, best esports athletes. Same thing, I've never heard anything about any of those people, so I'm just gonna Street Fighter guy. Best esports game, also I haven't played anything except Dota, so content creator of the year. Okay, I guess for my opinion it would be between Kai and Charlie. I'm not gonna vote for Peanut. I personally also don't know much about Sakura Miko or Kadero. If I have to choose and just give my personal opinion, then it is going to be Charlie for me. I just resonate more with Charlie's content, so yep. Most anticipated game. Why is Half-Life 3 not on there? People, why is Half-Life 3 not on here? But okay, jokes aside. This is gonna be more interesting. 007 First Light. GTA 6. Definitely a big contender for most anticipated. People are getting crazy about this, and I think for a reason. Open world games are getting more and more complicated. After we had Elden Ring and after we had Tears of the Kingdom, it's been harder and harder for game studios, I think, to make something that stands out, mostly because these games are already so big and already so filled with things to do. You can't really compete if you have something that's half-assed. So you either make an indie game that has like a small open world, something that doesn't impress with size, or you get an even bigger team and make an even bigger world. And if there is a company, if there is a game that could achieve that, I think it might actually be GTA. So GTA, big contender. Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem could be cool. The Witcher 4, I have to say I was really impressed by the trailer for Witcher 4. So for me personally, I would also say The Witcher. This is hard. This is like probably the hardest one so far. I'm just saying, let's go with The Witcher. Best adaptation. Work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Okay. I mean, I watched Minecraft with my son. I don't know if I would say it's faithful, but it was fun. Devil May Cry. I mean, it's kind of. Splinter Cell Deathwatch, nothing that I've seen, so I can't really say. Last of Us was good. Last of Us was a good adaptation. Until Dawn, I also don't. I mean, I have to say Last of Us. Like, it's also probably the easiest because the game was already made in a way that really offers itself for adaptation. But yeah, I think the result was really good. So yeah, Last of Us. Best multiplayer. What do we have here? Arc Raiders, great game. Battlefield 6, not my kind of... I've heard some people really do not like it because it's not really a Battlefield. Elden Ring Night Rain, honestly, I was kind of disappointed. Elden Ring Night Rain is about everything that I do not like about FromSoft games in one game. Just boss battles. Yeah, I know there is a lot of people who like the Soulsborne formula, one strong boss after the other. And what interests me more about FromSoft games was always the lore, the exploration, the fact that you learn more about the whole world and about the story by interacting with the world. And they kind of just take this all away and make it into a battle arena. But yeah, that I also feel like it didn't have the same kind of impact. I think it is more of a niche thing, or it at least appears to me that way. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Peak is interesting, and I honestly did not really like Split Fiction. Maybe once again a hot take. I do like cooperative games usually. I really do like cooperative games, but something about Split Fiction was a little bit complicated. I did not like the pacing much. It was too fast for me. You had, from my point of view, like not really that much time to get to know the characters right in the beginning. It's getting to action too fast. So I don't have a reason to care for the two of them. I get the idea that you want to mix the genres, but by doing that, I kind of feel like it doesn't really shine in any of those areas. In this category for me, I'm just gonna have to take Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is such a good game. Just such a good game. Yeah, Arc Raiders it is. Best sports racing. I have not played any of those games. I will most likely not play any of those games at any point. If I am gonna play any of those games, it's gonna be Mario Kart, so I'm gonna just take Mario Kart. Best sim strategy. Now it's getting a bit more interesting. Another one down there. Oh, I said it would get more interesting, but honestly, I kind of feel like it's just gonna be Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, yeah, Civilization is always fun, but it's always also just Civilization. I mean, not gonna lie, the original Final Fantasy Tactics still is almost the best Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Just the idea of them like adding proper voice acting and making it a bit nicer to watch. It's like, this is what I want from a remake, just because it is really such a good game, and I don't really think any of the other games compete with it. Honestly, it deserves my vote for best sim strategy game. Definitely best. No, honestly, no. I don't have to think about it that much more. It's just the best game on this list. Best family game. Split Fiction again, like, no. I mean, I know you play it in multiplayer and co-op, and I like co-op games. I loved The Tale of Two Brothers, and I loved It Takes Two, and I think that was kind of an inspiration for this game, but it's just not on the same level, sorry. That doesn't mean that you can't have fun with Splitgate. If you like it, that's perfectly fine. I just personally expected more. The same, like, kind of with Donkey Kong. I mean, I know that you can play multiplayer in Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I kind of feel that this is not its main strength. It is still more of a single player game. So yeah, Lego, Mario Kart, and Sonic. So we have 2 kart games and 2 building games. I think the best family game is still Minecraft, but you can probably not just put Minecraft into these lists every year. Let's try to think about it strategically. If I am gonna choose the driving games, I will probably go for Mario Kart over Sonic. Out of those 2, let's take Mario Kart. Out of the 2 Lego games, I don't know that much about both of those games. I know a little bit about those games, but not that much. And I would probably say that Lego Voyages is more interesting because I do like the concept a little bit more. So I guess it's between Lego and Mario Kart. And if it's just about a family night, best family, I think Mario Kart is just a classic way to know. So I'm gonna take Mario Kart. Best fighting game. Once again, nothing that I know all that much about because I am not a fighting game player. At least, let's say I'm not good fighting game player. Which game am I most likely going to play? I am very likely gonna be very bad at each of those games. Honestly, if I just go after the pictures there, this one is probably be most willing to try. Let's just take it. Doesn't make any sense for me to think too much about fighting games that I will probably suck. Best RPG. That's more my kind of games already. Avowed was awesome, not gonna lie. Kingdom Come Deliverance, also great, and there will once again be people hating me, but I am not that much of a Kingdom Come's Deliverance fan because it is a little bit too realistic for me. I just like it if in a fantasy story you can be a bit more fantastical, which is also not that easy. I think you have to have like a little bit of a balance, but I think they really tried to be as realistic as possible in Kingdom Come's Deliverance, and that just makes it less interesting for me. If I want realism, then I go to a museum and not start up a video game. But yeah, that's just it. Monster Hunter Wilds was cool. The Outer Worlds too, yeah, fun, nice. The elephant in the room, isn't it? I mean, we have Final Fantasy 17. I mean, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on this list, and this is just such a great game in any aspect. Maybe the replayability is a little bit less than I would have hoped, but then once again, it was a little bit of a smaller team, and they did give you an amazing package. Like it has such a great story. It has such an amazing art style. It has such good music. The characters are insane. It's not perfect in any way. There are a lot of things that I could complain about. Once again, as I said, replayability a little bit boring in the end game. Not that much to do when you finish. But yeah, once again, there are many RPGs who are like that. I do like the character development most of the time, especially with Mayel and her family, but I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get more about the other characters. Gustav, at some point, he was just gone. And the same with Luna and CL. I just felt like they would have deserved a little bit more attention later in the story. And they ended up a little bit just as a side note. Maybe there will be a DLC at some point who goes more into that. I don't know. I just hope. But I'm already going on a tangent. I just have to. Sorry, guys. I just have to. Best action adventure. I think now we are getting a little bit more into the more complicated categories. I mean, yeah, once again, I don't know why they put Split Fiction on here. I guess Split Fiction is just such a game where the premise just makes it really interesting and where you think it just makes sense to put it onto a award nominee list like this, because yeah, that it could have been nice. Making a game like Split Fiction is not an easy task. I definitely know that. But in my position as a player and as a critic, I just didn't have as much fun with the game as I hoped. And it is, once again, it is a game that I should like. It has a lot of story elements in it. It has a lot of cooperation in it. That is all that I want in video games, or not all that I want in video games, a big part of what I want in video games. So maybe I had really high expectations for Split Fictions, but it just did not live up to what it could have been. So I know that's maybe why I am so critical about the other 4 games here. I honestly liked all of them. Indiana Jones and The Great Circle is probably the best entry in the Indiana Jones franchise, no matter which medium, if you do not count like the original films. If you are an Indiana Jones fan in any kind of way, you will love this game. Death Stranding 2, I honestly think it really improved on Death Stranding 1. Not just gameplay wise, I mean, Death Stranding gameplay is always been a little bit controversial, I guess, but just when it comes to the story, they answered a lot of questions from before. I think it is a good sequel. Ghost of Yotei, also a great game. If you like Ghost of Tsushima, you will like Ghost of Yotei. That's just how it is. The only critique that I might have here is that I don't know it improved that much on the first one. So once again, you will have fun, but I don't know if that's enough to compete against the other games on this list. And then there is Silksong. I have to admit, there are not that many games that I have been waiting for as passionately as Hollow Knight Silksong, even though I am really, really bad at this game. I've already said before, I do not like the Soulsborne formula per se, but I end up liking a lot of games that use it. Elden Ring, Dark Souls, classical example, they are gonna be one of my favorite games of all the time. Bloodborne is awesome. Lies of P was really great, and it's kind of similar to Silksong and like Hollow Knight in general, even the first Hollow Knight. I really liked playing those games, even if I'm really bad at it and I died so many times and it took me so long to finish it, because there's just so much more to this game than just the hard gameplay. Silksong is the same. It has like a really well crafted and deep narrative, and just the way how you experience this narrative is unlike so many other things. This is for me kind of what it means to tell a story with a video game. So I am guessing, once again, even though I liked most games on this list, I am gonna take Silksong. Best action game. We have Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Okay. I have not played Ninja Gaiden 4. I have not played Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna vote for a Battlefield game. Sorry, that's just not my kind of tea. Doom is always kind of interesting. And then there's Hades. If I think about what I would probably enjoy playing most out of the games, it's probably gonna be Hades. And I'm not even that much of a roguelike guy. And once again, I like good narratives, and I like the way that they implemented narrative storytelling in. So it's gonna be Hades. For best VR AR. I do not have a VR headset, so I honestly do not know. I feel like it would not be fair to cast any vote here because I have no idea about any of those games. So I'm gonna leave that out. Best mobile game. Is Wuthering Waves such a new game? Okay. There is a lot of people who liked Uma Musume, and maybe it's even good. It's once again one game that I just can't get interested in. I'm sorry. Like, I like anime games, absolutely. But there is a certain section of anime that is, I don't know, getting too absurd for me already. And I generally don't think that's a bad thing. I like the fact that in many ways, anime doesn't take itself as seriously, so that something like this can exist. And let's be serious, there are way weirder things in the world of anime than Uma Musume. But yeah, not really for me. I didn't know there was a mobile Persona game, so I will look into this. The one that I played a little bit and that I actually like to a certain extent is Wuthering Waves, so I'm just gonna vote for that. Best debut indie game. I know that this is the most controversial category, since a lot of people do not like the fact that Clair Obscur and Dispatch are on here. Mostly because they are technically still bigger teams, and from just what the game gives you, it doesn't really feel like an indie game. And I kind of get that. I think this was also the category... Was this the category Megabonk was actually supposed to be in, or was that another one? But we are going to have a very philosophical discussion here, I guess. about what makes an indie game and what doesn't. Dispatch was a great game. Clair Obscur was a great game. But yeah, I can get that it feels a little bit unfair to put something like Clair Obscur next to something like Despelote. It's like comparing apples and curry powder. It feels very different. So I don't know. I'm honestly just gonna take Blueprints just because I honestly think that it is a really great game. And if I think about what I instinctively would think about an indie game, it would be more Blueprints than Clair Obscur. And I think Clair Obscur has way more opportunities to win way more awards in other categories. If we're considering that this category is supposed to be here to give games a place that might not be able, just because of their scale, to get into other categories, I think Blueprints deserves the voting more. Oh no, this is best indie games. Was it before? Best debut indie. So this was the category with Megabonk. But yeah, same thing applies. So if we're talking about indie games in general, we have once again Blueprints and Clair Obscur. We also have Ballneck's Pit and Absolum, which was also quite fun. And we have Hades and Silksong. This is a little bit... okay, we're once again making it difficult here. What is an indie game? Because honestly, yes, I would think that something like Hades can be considered an indie game. If I think about like the art style that is just a little bit more simple to achieve with a smaller team. Same for Silksong. If I think about like how the game is structured, they don't try to make it as big as you can if you have like a bigger team or anything. I do think that technically Hades and Silksong are still like real indie games in that they do not have like a publisher. I think they're self-published, aren't they? Which doesn't really mean a lot since both of those games have made more than enough money from their predecessors that I don't think that they have to deal with a publisher if they don't want to. Clair Obscur is in this weird spot where I kind of think it, in some aspects, it still does count as an indie game because it probably did not have the same budget as something big as, I don't know, GTA or whatever. But I think you had already bigger team and more resources put into it than for something like Absolum or Blueprints. I am gonna go with Silksong. Best community support. I mean, you would have to play all of those games for a long time to really have an opinion on that, I think. I played Helldivers quite a bit, but I don't really know if I experienced anything with community support there. I don't really play Fortnite. Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I guess in an MMO you kind of need good community support. No Man's Sky definitely deserves it. I know the whole story and I know what the game used to be. The only game on this list where I actually have some experience with something that I personally consider actually to be quite good community support is Baldur's Gate 3. I've spent more time in this game than I'm willing to admit, and the things that they did do so far is honestly way more than I expected a company to do for a game like this. So I'm personally gonna choose Larian. Best ongoing. Can't really say anything about it. I'm gonna give this one to No Man's Sky because I feel like they deserve something in that area just for how much they invested into a game that they could just have stamped off as dead. Games for Impact. As a huge Life is Strange fan, I'm gonna just say it, I'm most likely gonna vote for this one, but there are a lot of really cool games on this list. Most of the games on this list are amazing. I haven't played South of Midnight, so I can't really say that much about this game. The Life is Strange fan in me just is screaming very, very loud to take Lost Records, so I'm gonna take Lost Records. Innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. I do not know what Assassin's Creed is supposed to do to make the game be playable by a wider audience. do they have some special features in their settings or something that makes it easier? I honestly don't know, which might easily be because I am a privileged bastard who doesn't have to use most of those features, which doesn't mean that I think they shouldn't be there. I think that's perfectly fine and important for a lot of people. I do want games to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. I just don't think that I can say anything about that. The same with Doom. What is Doom doing to make it be playable? What exactly is Doom the Dark Ages doing to be accessible? Or EA Sports 26? Once again, I haven't really played South of Midnight, so I can't really say that much about what that game is doing. Same with Atomfall, and I obviously have not played EA Sports, but I just with those 3 games, I don't get how they fit in the category, and that might just be because I have not looked into that at all. I'm gonna skip this category as well. Best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion and or performance capture, where we have a lot of Clair Obscur stuff: Silent Hill, Ghost of Yotei, and Indiana Jones. Okay, I honestly love all of them. Not that huge a fan of Silent Hill F in general, but I think she did what she was supposed to do, and she did it very well, so I can't really complain that much about it. No one on this list is someone where I would say they did a really bad job. So once again, I have to think about who has had the greatest impact on me personally, and in that I would probably just vote for Charlie Cox. I think he did a stellar job, and I hope I am not letting myself to be biased by the fact that I just really like the character he's playing. Honestly, I think just the way he played Gustav was probably a big reason why I like Gustav that much. So I think it's deserved. Best audio design, best sound design. And here is the reason. We just talked about the indie game category before. I do think that a lot of indie games have good sound design and everything. I think you could probably put Silksong Blueprints in something easily. You cannot say they don't have good sound design, sorry, but they just don't have the size of some other games. I can see why people say Battlefield has like an amazing sound design, because there's probably so much going into that with all the effects and weapons and whatever that that is something you're just not gonna do for a indie game, so to say, even if the indie game sounds amazing. And I mean, yeah, Death Stranding does have a lot of interesting stuff going on, but I kind of feel like this is just expected for a Kojima game. I also think that Ghost of Yotei and Silent Hill do primarily what is expected of them in the games, which doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like it wouldn't be the first thing I comment on when I'm playing a game. Whereas I was really, really impressed by how Clair Obscur, for example, used sounds in their storytelling, in their game design and everything. And so I don't know, for me it's gonna be Clair Obscur. That's the reason why I didn't pick Clair Obscur in any of the indie categories, because I think they fit very well into the competition that they have in those bigger categories as well. And here we are again with the best soundtrack, and once again I would have to say that Lorien Testart did a really great job in Clair Obscur here. I liked Ghost of Yotei music, and I liked the Death Stranding music as well. And I am a huge fan of Darren Korb. Ever since I heard the soundtrack for Bastion, I am a really big fan of that guy. Silksong is also great, but honestly, like, the one that really blew me away was just Clair Obscur. Best art direction, and we have these are just the same. These are just the same games. Oh my god. I mean, it makes sense somehow, but yeah. Are we going to see exactly the same games from now on in all the categories? Is that what's going on? Okay, let's just go for best art design. We're on art direction specifically. Okay, obviously Clair Obscur is amazing when it comes to this. Technically speaking, Kojima also does a great job with Death Stranding. I just feel it's not as impressive as the other ones, and it probably is not supposed to be as impressive. It is taking another position in the whole experience. Same for Ghost of Yotei. It's not bad. It's not the main selling point of the game. So I personally am more torn between, once again, Hollow Knight, Hades, and Clair Obscur. And I would probably give it to Clair Obscur in that case as well. This has probably been, for me personally, the hardest decision. Supergiant and Team Cherry did a really, really great job. It's just, once again, that Clair Obscur it swept me off my seat for when I played the game. It's just, there's So much cool stuff done. Best narrative. And we do have the usual suspects: Clair Obscur, Death Stranding, Ghost of Yotei. But then we have Kingdom Come Deliverance and Silent Hill F. So we're getting to the categories where I actually know all the games and I do have an opinion for all of these games. Yeah. Let's get into Kingdom Come Deliverance first. I do think it's a great RPG and it has I would say it has like a really good story. I wouldn't say I didn't like Silent Hill F. I just think once again I expected more. Ghost of Yotei was also a great story. I don't know if I like it more than Ghost of Tsushima. I personally feel like those two games are just a higher tier of storytelling. If I had to, like, Death Stranding is focusing so much on really improving on the story and on the characters from the first part and on tying up loose ends, on improving on what has already been there. It is just narrative-wise a really, really, really good sequel. Clair Obscur is just a jewel in RPG storytelling. Yeah, once again, like, my personal opinion is probably Clair Obscur did the best. Best game direction, creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. What does that even mean? So it's like a very general thing. Creative vision and innovation. I mean, once again, Split Fiction, I get it why they put it on there. I just don't think it has been executed well enough to get the title. Hades 2, once again, great game. Great sequel to Hades 1. But probably not done enough to make it that much better than Hades 1, I guess. I have talked about Ghost of Yotei also a lot. It's also a great game, and I also don't know if they have done enough to make it that much better than Ghost of Tsushima for it to actually win the award here. And I kind of feel like I have to say the same thing about Death Stranding. While I do think it is a great continuation of the narrative, is it that much more of a outstanding creative vision and innovation, especially compared against its prequel, to deserve an award for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction? If you just have me decide between those 5 games, I have to choose Clair Obscur again, which makes us come to Game of the Year. I do not know where Donkey Kong Bonanza came in right now. It had so little nominations with all the other categories that I'm kind of surprised that it's here. But okay, so we do have Silksong, good. We do have Hades too, also makes sense. Let me just ask a question. Do you have to put a Kojima game onto this category if there is a Kojima game? Is that kind of like an obligation? It feels a little bit that way. It's because, yeah, it is not a bad game, don't get me wrong, but is it that great compared to all the other games that are going out? You can argue for it, definitely. It feels a little bit like, oh, there is a Kojima game, I have to put a Kojima game onto it. I don't know, guys. I mean, it is maybe a little bit of a recency bias, but I would have liked to seen something like Arc Raiders on here. I get Hades, I get Hollow Knight, I obviously get Clair Obscur. You probably need to put a Nintendo thing on here as well, I get it. So let's just filter out Donkey Kong and Death Stranding. They're great games, but I would not consider them Game of the Year. I would also... Oh, there's something on there. Oh, Kingdom Come is on there as well. Yeah, sorry. No, it didn't make as much of an impression onto me that I would consider it. Thinking about it that way, I would probably also take out Hades 2. From those games, the ones who had the greatest impact on me that I would probably consider as Game of the Year were definitely Silksong and definitely Clair Obscur. There have not been many games that were as hyped as Silksong, and there are even less games that actually live up to the hype. Silksong did, from my point of view, really live up to the hype. We did get mostly what we expected, and we expected a lot. So I do think they deserve the title, but then again, Clair Obscur did prove that RPGs are not dead, especially turn-based RPGs are not dead, and that they are a very, very valid and interesting genre still, which I like a lot because I like turn-based RPGs a lot. And it did prove that not every big game that has to be a Elden Ring Zelda clone like thingy, but you can make really good games with really good experiences in genres that are maybe not as mainstream. So yeah, it's gonna be Clear Obscure again. So yeah, that's gonna be my votes. I left out innovation and accessibility and best VR AR because I really feel like I do not have as much to say there. I don't know if that was that interesting to you. I like to yap about games and give my opinion on them, so it was definitely interesting for me. Maybe you liked my opinion, maybe you didn't. If you have a different one, just leave it in the comments below. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I hope we'll see each other next time. Bye.